Hey, welcome to JG3 Reviews. My name is James and I review pens and fountain pens and related things. And today I have one that I want to share with you that I'm pretty excited about. This is the Moonman T1. And if you're not familiar, Moonman is a company from China that has been built up by enthusiasts who really like fountain pens and they know what they like and they're taking input from their customers, kind of similar to the way that Pen BBS has been doing. And also similar, putting out some really high quality products and doing something that not all the Chinese pen companies do, not to pick on Chinese pen companies, but just true. Some of them are only making pens that are copies of old pens, Parkers and things like that. In fact, Moonman makes the old Parker 45 clone. Theirs is the Moonman Series 80, and this is the Moonman 80 Mini, which Parker never did make. They've basically taken a Parker 45, chopped it off, and sell that as the Moonman 80. Actually a good pen, and I'll put a link to the review of this pen because I've already done that one. And so some people know them as another company that makes some Parker replicas, homages, clones, copies, whatever you want to call them. Some of those words are a little loaded. But one thing I like about Moonman, unlike some others, is that they're innovative and they're coming up with some pens that may take cues from other things, kind of the best things from this one and the best from that one, and then creatively put them together. And that's what this pen is. The Moonman T1 has elements that will remind you of some other pens on the market, but they've put them together in a way that makes for a really excellent pen. So let's go ahead and do a close-up and I'll show you the design of the pen, the function of the pen, and then we'll get into the writing test and what I like and what I don't like and see whether or not you might like this pen as much as I do. Let's flip that camera. Okay, so now we have the Moonman T1, and it is, as I mentioned, an aluminum and acrylic demonstrator pen with a piston fill mechanism. This is one of my favorite ways to fill a pen just because it's very, very handy, and when it's the entire body of a pen like this, or like in the TWSBI Eco, then you end up with a large amount of ink in the pen and you don't have to fill them up that often. And I like that. And you can easily see what pen or what ink you have in the pen, which in this case is the Pelican Royal Blue. Like the Kaweco, it has the logo etched in the top, and I think they did a really nice job of that. And of course, too, the Moonman name on the side of the cap. I like all those things. Inside, you have a plastic sleeve that runs the length of the cap and goes all the way. You can see the shine of the inside of the finial where it connects to the cap. And I found that this seals very well, and that's I kind of like a plastic sleeve inside. Some people prefer metal on metal. I like the plastic. It tends to seal well. I've had no evaporation issues with this pen, and I appreciate that. So let's take a look at the nib and the section here. The nib is really nice. Let's see if I can get that close up. Moonman makes their own in-house nibs, and if you follow what people are thinking about these nibs, you'll find that there has been a lot of improvement over the last year. And I don't have one of the older ones, so you'll kind of have to rely on some people who bought the pen earlier to know what the earlier pens were like. But this nib is great, and I've really been impressed with it. It writes very smoothly, smoother than my TWSBI Eco. And so I'll tell you more about that in the writing impressions, but I really do like this nib, and it's the medium nib that I have on this pen. And so normal plastic feed aluminum grip section, as I said before. This, I believe, the grip section itself, the aluminum part, is probably glued to this section. I'm not going to try and take that off. I'm afraid I'll damage the pen. Otherwise, the nib and feed, of course, can be removed to be able to clean out the inside of the pen if you need to. This can be removed. I'm not going to unscrew it because I have ink in the pen. That's really a pretty simple reason, right? But in there, you can see where you could use a wrench to disassemble this as well. And I'm sure there'll be people who put up videos soon showing you how to do that. So very, very simple, I think, straightforward way to clean that pen if you needed to break it down. I just haven't gotten to that point myself yet. So Do I like the design of the pen? Yeah, I do. When I go down my list of things I like and don't like about this pen, the design I like. Even though, in a way, it's kind of a hodgepodge of some different pens. I like that. So is a Corvette, a hodgepodge of different things. A little bit of Ferrari here, a little bit of Camaro and Mustang there. That's kind of the way things work in the market. You find the things that please your customer the best, and if you can throw them all together into a Goldilocks pen, all the better. And I kind of think that's what Moonman just might have done with this pen. Very, very simple pen to use. If you don't know how to fill, by the way, a piston filler pen, it works in very much the same way as other pens like this, like the TWSBI Eco, like the Wingsung 3008. I hope I get that number right, the 3008. And I'll check, and if it's the 3008, I will put that video right up there so that you can see how it fills, because it's pretty much exactly the same. So with all of that said, let's see how the pen actually writes. All right, so let's see how this pen writes. Again, the Moonman. I doubt you've forgotten that this early in the video or this late in the video, however you want to see it. This one has a medium nib, and that's how I think it writes. Different pens rate those differently, different companies, nib makers, and everything else. But when I think of a medium, this is right in the sweet spot of what I have in mind when I'm buying that pen. This is a Pelikan Royal Blue ink. Bumping up other pens over there to the side. I'm going to be quiet and let you hear as I write a few things so that you can hear how this nib has or doesn't have feedback, and see what you think. Okay, not a lot of noise, not much to hear, was there? It just writes very, very smoothly, and I really like that. It makes it an easy pen. I'm taking classes right now, online classes, and I write a lot of notes. I remember things better when I hand write it. Even though I'm a gadget guy, I've got a million ways to take notes digitally. I still write. I obviously into fountain pens. I like them too because I can write longer with less cramping of the hand. I've got a teacher in a class right now, and man, the pen is smoking by the end of the class, just going through things so quickly. So I like that. Let me do a little bit of a comparison here to another pen that I really like and I use a lot, and is very similar in concept. The TWSBI Eco, same kind of piston filler pen. I showed you that earlier. And a little bit different take on the concept and a different approach in the nib. So this is a smaller nib. Let me be quiet and let you hear the difference, and then go back and play that again, and then come back and play this again and hear the difference between these two pens. The circumstances here are exactly the same. Almost the same. I seem to have lost the ability to write the number 7. But did you hear the difference? Really a lot more feedback on the Eco. That's not necessarily a negative. I kind of like a pencil-like feedback. I've mentioned that before. And this one, it has a feedback that is like that, or at least mine does. If your experience has been different with the Eco, you might share that in the comments below. Some things vary, but this pen has a little bit more feedback than does the Moonman. And if I had a preference, even though I like that TWSBI Eco very, very much, I think I like this pen's nib better. Feel in the hand is different, but I like them both. Construction on both, really high quality. So you're not going to go wrong. Whichever one of these pens that you end up getting, you're not going to go wrong. I know they certainly back up their products well, and that's always a good thing. I've not ever had to deal with Moonman's customer service, so I don't know if that's good, bad, or non-existent. I couldn't tell you. Again, you might share in the comments if you've had that experience. But as far as build quality, this thing is there. Now you get the tool to take this apart. You get a nicer packaging when you get it, and things like that. So there is that if you're comparing them. However, you pay for that. Okay, you're going to pay $10 or more extra for that TWSBI than you are for this if you're thinking of them side by side. They're different pens and they have similarities. So go with your preference. I will tell you this: you're not going to go wrong with either one. I really like this Moonman T1. I think I don't know of a pen that I've bought recently that climbed. Other pens that I've bought have quickly climbed up the ladder into, I really like this pen and I use it a lot more often. This one has rocketed toward the top of the list. I'm not sure it's at the top of the list, but it has rocketed toward the top of the list. It is a fantastic pen. I really like it, and I think it's a good deal, and I think you'll really like it too. So if you're in the market for a similar piston-filled pen, definitely check out, if you can, the Moonman T1. And come back again, I say next week, but it might be even sooner that we'll have a video. So like and subscribe and hit that bell so that you'll know when the new videos come. Share it with somebody that you think might like a fountain pen, and introduce them to the world of fountain pens and inks and favorite inks and all those good things. So God bless you, and have a good week.